Great. I think we are live. So first 3 minutes, as usual, like we'll spend some time to understand if mic, camera, everything works, if the network works, to understand where people are joining from. I think people are coming, like people are joining right now, mostly on YouTube. And it is also live on LinkedIn, but I don't expect people to join from LinkedIn because the RSVP link will send them to YouTube first. So let's first verify. Let me just verify if we are live on YouTube. I'm just looking at my phone right now. Uh, okay, yeah, we are live. That's great. So we'll do the traditional stuff first for the first 3 minutes. So if you are joining, I don't know, any part of the world, n- not from India mostly because it's very late. Sorry about that. Hopefully they can come and watch the recording. But if you're watching this from, let us know where you're joining from. And I'm from London. I'm right now in London in a co-working space in a very small booth. And Karun, where are you from?
Joining in from Hoboken, New Jersey. It's sort of right next to New York. Yeah.
Yep. So where are you guys from? Whoever watching this, you can start the chat. I know no one has started the chat. Just start the chat. The reason that this conversation is live is not to just consider this as a webinar. This is going to be recorded and it's going to be there forever. But it is for you to ask questions. Like, Karun, he's a busy guy. And like, I brought him in so that you guys can ask the questions. So feel free to ask any deep questions that you have. We are getting the um, locations: San Diego, California; San Francisco, California. Nice. Two from California. Anyone else from New York? No. From Dallas. Nice. Pakistan. Oh, I like respect your sincerity. I know it's pretty late over there in Pakistan. You still joined. From Columbus. Nice. Uh, Anyone from London, UK, or any part of Europe? No one?
I think both of our audiences initially were built in US, so I'm guessing a lot of the folks would be from US.
I'm sad that no one is from New York. See, Karun and I were like part of New Jersey, New York. We need a.
Yeah, New York, like the creator community, especially like tech creator community, maybe it's like a little bit, maybe a fraction of what's in like the West Coast. Definitely need a
Okay.
change there. But yeah, let's see what we can do.
Okay. Saravana Satish from Tamil Nadu, India. Okay. I have an uncle named that. Hopefully, if not, sorry, but if you are my uncle, hi, uncle. But yeah, like I think I don't want to delay this anyway. Boston, one more from Boston, Rachana. So I'll set first. I know you are wondering. Uh, I've seen this guy Hari doing a lot of live and a lot of webinars before. I know you're wondering that. Um, I'll set why this is happening. You might saw the title, the reality show, the A and I highlighted, because like you can't just separate A and I from Hari, and the reason being. Uh, AI is changing the world. Everyone keeps thinking that it's the real world is going away and it's gonna like make it as a simulation and stuff. And all the real conversation, real content, and everything is going away. I feel that too, being an AI engineer. I'm sure everyone feels that. This conversation series is to bring the reality, irrespective of whatever is happening in AI. We are going to go technical. We are not against AI, but we still want to understand the gaps that AI has and like what we should do in the era of AI and what else is doing. That's why the reality show, and it's like powered by my real product, and also the real came from there. So my real product is like a 4-week workshop that I run. You guys might know that if you are looking to transition into AI, uh, ping me or just go to myrealproduct.com and you can learn build AI within 4 weeks. So enough about the intro to the podcast. And by the way, this is the first episode, and now we have Karun. I know all of you are waiting, cursing me inside your mind, thinking that stop talking, let Karun talk so that I can gain some insights. And I'm looking forward to that as well. So first episode, life of a data scientist in a big tech. featuring Karun, and I'm gonna ask how his life is as a data scientist. He's been in the field for quite some time, and he has been there before AI, during AI. So I'm gonna drill everything how his life is, and so that you can learn what to do in your career. Potentially, this 1 hour of your conversation will change the way that you think about um, data, AI, or like big tech, or anything in the tech field. So, welcome, Karun. Welcome to this podcast series. And I'm super proud that we are doing this live for the third time. I was just telling Karun, and I think third times is a charm, right? So, third time, Karun is the first guest in this series. And I'm so proud to have you here, Karun. And thank you for your support. I would let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you for having me as the sort of like the first show as part of like this podcast. I know third time's the charm, but hopefully the last two times were good as well.
It was
And
great. Yeah.
and yeah, a bit about me. Mostly working as a data scientist. My 9 to 5 is as a data scientist. I work a lot on applied ML, large scale predictive models, and Rexes. Got into this field a long while back, which I guess we'll dive into as the show goes on. But apart from data science, as my 9 to 5, I also try and create content on the side about almost everything that I find interesting. Not a lot of it isn't it's not around agents and LLMs. I'm still very much a foundational guy who sort of still feels the majority value is in large scale applied ML systems. So yeah, if you are interested in that kind of content, content around base NLP, base machine learning, base deep learning, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn and check out our Substack on Build ML. Yeah.
Yep. And like, there is no if here. If you are here, you should definitely follow Karun. So I think Karun is one of the few people who talk super technical on LinkedIn, so that you can learn a lot of stuff. When everyone touches the surface, whenever I read Karun's like post, I think like 30% of the time, the post that I read from Karun is super technical that I learn a lot every time. Like and a quick intro about me is like, I am from a data science background as well. So I'm super excited here to talk to Karun specifically for that reason. And I'm here to learn a lot. So I'm from a data science background, and I did my master's in data science, and I worked as a data scientist. Right now, I'm a senior AI engineer working in a startup. Uh, so here we are. This is not about me. This is about Karun and his life as a data scientist in big tech. So that's the title. You know that. That's why you're here. And I'm going to tell you the agenda of this session. So the agenda is going to be, I like this agenda, which is like past, present, and future. So it's going to have, we're going to dive into the past, how Karun became a data scientist, and what happened, were his expectations when he became one, or how did he become one. We're going to dive into all those things in the first chapter. And the second chapter is going to be present. Now AI is there, and AI is like changing the way that people work. I have a deeper question. Is actually AI changing the way that data scientists work? And Karun is going to answer such burning questions in chapter 2. And chapter 3 is going to be the future. Karun's opinion on what's going to happen next. Uh, and finally, we'll spend like quite like 20 minutes of time answering your questions. So if you have any question, I see that there is already a question from Pawan Reddy, question to Karun. We put that, and if it's relevant, I can ask in between sessions. But if you have more questions, hold it on to the end of the session so that we can ask everything to Karun. And I'm so excited. I think let's not just waste time. Let's get into chapter 1. So chapter 1, talking about the past. Today, Karun, like, the title is fancy. Everyone wants dreams to become like you, right? So my question is, how did it all start? So when you got your first job, how did that happen? Was it easy? I know the answer is no, but like, what did you do to get that first opportunity, or how did you build your profile when you had nothing?
Got it. So I think my first job was actually back in India. I wouldn't say I guess I struggled, but I struggled in a little bit more of a traditional path. I didn't really know I wanted to be an engineer. I sort of got into engineering because everybody else said it was sort of a safe path, a good way to land a job. So, like almost every other kid in India, prepared for IIT, didn't get in, got in through the AAA exams into a college called NIT Calicut. Was lucky enough because of this thing called state quota to get into computer science. And yeah, pretty much just did what I guess everybody else told was a good path to follow. So mostly coding, building projects. I think it was around second year that you sort of like, as you start staying away from home, and as you start spending time with other people who are doing things because they like doing them, you sort of start thinking about, hey, what do I like doing? And you try out a lot of things. At that time, second year in college, you sort of try out. I tried out app development, game development, web development, software, a little bit of like building out software, and web design development was what sort of I found the most interesting at that time. This was like 2012, so like 13 years ago. It feels very weird saying that. But yeah, it was around 13 years ago. I started in web design development, got really interested in that, was able to develop a few websites for my college, which turned into a few internships at like very small companies in and around the locality, which eventually turned into an internship at Dell Technologies, where we were working on essentially a web API
Mhm.
to sort of like complete a certain functionality of within the Dell e-commerce org. So started mostly in the front end, moved a little bit into the back end, and then the internship converted and got a full-time role as a software development engineer. So I wouldn't say it wasn't a path where I had a lot of struggle in terms of, hey, how should I land a role, or what should I be doing to land a role? More struggle in terms of, I know what I need to do, it's just very hard to do it because there was no chat gpt. We were spending time in GitHub and Stack Overflow to figure stuff out. And when you get really stuck, you need to go to your seniors, beg for their time, and figure things out, because there was no like, hey, how do I design this website where it's our tech fest and 20,000 people are logging on and people are complaining the site is crashing and it's 2 a.m. at midnight and we don't know what to do. So yeah, there are not a lot of resources. So the struggle was because of the things that we did at the time was hard, and that was, I guess, where the struggle was. So was able to overcome a lot of it and land a fairly decent role as software development engineer Intel Technologies, Bangalore, and I guess that was my first role. Yeah.
Okay. So you started your career as a software developer, not a data scientist, and
No.
then you moved to data.
Yep.
How did
Yep.
that happen and why? I because like it's very rare to find someone who moved from software development to data field, right?
Yep. Yep. Definitely. I think as with almost everything in my life, like within second year, like I mentioned, I hung around a lot of people who are really passionate. I did a lot of different things. Um, Again, in when I was working as SD, we had a new director come in who was really passionate about. I guess it was his first time managing an org, and he was really passionate about bringing about a lot of change. So, in addition to a lot of the software engineering improvements he was bringing in terms of like microservices architecture and all of those things that were sort of hyped up during that time, and I guess is still around. Apart from that, he also wanted to build out a data analytics division where there would be a lot more monitoring and understanding of how our software is performing, where it's falling short, and how exactly to use data to prioritize what we should be building out next. So in terms of like building out this data analytics wing, he I guess at the time he didn't really want to put his staff senior engineers there. So he was looking for a few people who could stretch and spend a bit of time on data analytics. And I was, again, because I was fresh out of college, very excited about working. I was one of those few people who was willing to stretch, and it was like, hey, I get to learn something new. I get to work directly under our director, which is
Okay.
like skip manager. So
Okay.
felt like a really great opportunity. I really applied myself, got into data analytics, which went into big data analytics. And once we started understanding our data, the next obvious question was, okay, then what will happen in the future? So that's how the gap from data analytics moved to predictive modeling, and I got a
Mm.
little bit into ML there. Again, just worked on mostly, I think, PySpark and Pandas. Never touched a deep learning framework, but
Okay.
just with, I guess, those two sort of like simple packages, was able to do a little bit of maybe innovative work. Two of those work streams ended up becoming patents, and that was like a huge learning opportunity. The director who started all of this at the time, he got like a better role, and he was transitioning out. And I realized that I really like this sort of learning curve that I'm on, and if I want to continue on that learning curve, I might need to do a master's. That was sort of the feedback I was getting from that time, again from mentors and seniors. And yeah, that's when I started to pursue my master's. Eventually uh, got an admit. It took a few tries, but got an admit from one of the colleges I never would have thought I would get an admit. And yeah, I ended up coming to US for my master's after about 4 years as a SD.
Nice, nice. So it's safe to say that you didn't choose data science chose you,
Yep,
right?
yep, definitely. Like, I was essentially just passionate about doing stuff, as like most people are when you're just starting out your job. You want to sort of like make your mark, and
Hmm.
data science was like one of the ways that I felt like I could make that mark.
Okay. So my question like now is, let's say someone, I think, again, I might have asked this question before in the data science roundtable that you've done long back, but I still want to ask if you still hold that opinion. Um, if a guy who's starting computer science undergrad, he's trying to decide, hey, should I go for the data route or that software engineer route? What advice would you give to that guy?
Um, hmm, it's a good question. The issue, I guess, with data science is it's not that people without an advanced degree can't make it in data science. It's just that the average candidate typically has like a master's degree or a few years of experience. So if getting into data science is getting a job is your highest priority, then maybe software engineering might be a little bit better. That's still also up for debate with all the coding agents that are out there right now. But I guess software engineering might be a little bit more accepting of freshers with no experience.
Hmm.
If, however, if you are passionate about data science, and if getting not a job but getting your job, the job that you like, is your priority, then obviously yes, you can go for a data science role.
Cool. Thank you for clarifying that. So, like, which brings me to another burning question. So, this question, when I used to put YouTube video, LinkedIn, and everything, I'm sure you would have gotten the same.
Mhm.
This is the number one question. If I just do a group by of all the questions and do a count and do the max, this is the number one. I'm pretty sure. Is math required to become a data scientist?
It's not required, but it definitely does help. Um,
Okay.
just because so typically it depends a little bit within it depends a bit on the role or the company or the team that you're working in. If you're working in fairly mature teams, they would have done the simple stuff like fitting a model, doing a bit of basic feature engineering, using simple loss functions, simple metrics to get from point A to point B. Now if you need to improve on such systems, really understanding how certain nuances in your data translates into prediction is important, and that's where even if you don't understand like the math equations, and an understanding of hey, how does normality impact your linear regression predictions? Is it important for predictions, or is it just important if you're thinking about the confidence interval? Like those kind of things become important as you start, um, like we say, you can do 20, you only need 20% of the knowledge to do 80% of the work. But the problem is most teams have already done that 80% of work. Now if you want to improve on the remaining 20%, you need the other 80% of knowledge, and that is typically a lot of math based, a lot of stat based knowledge. Even if you don't know the equations, if you understand things like, hey, this is what normality looks like, this is how I test for it, if it fails, this is what happens in linear regression, or this is why randomization is important in random forest, or this is how this parameter influences XGBoost, but this parameter sort of contradicts it, and there is like this curve, and I need to find a sweet spot in that curve, like things like that. Understanding those things really help as you try to make improvements in that 20%. So it depends a little bit on the team and the
Mhm.
company you're working in. A lot of FANG companies, the easy stuff they would have already probably done. So you'll be working on a little bit more of the maturing an ML product stuff, in which case math is important. And that's why often in interviews, they will ask you questions like these. If
Mhm.
it's in a startup or if it's in a smaller org, they might not have implemented anything. So in those cases, even with that 20% knowledge, you can do a lot.
Fair, fair, makes sense. So I think I have one final question in the past section so that we can wrap that up and come to the present, live in the moment after this. Uh, so going back to your story, so you got into data because of the director, the project that came in, and then you moved to like for masters, right? And then Amazon happened in the US.
Mhm.
So how did you get into Amazon? What did you have in your profile to get into Amazon?
Good question. I think it was a little bit of a luck. So for me, during that time, when I landed in CMU, the program was pretty, I would say pretty good, pretty rigorous in terms of almost every course that you took required you to build, if not one, if not two projects, like projects that you can actually put on your resume. And since the people around you are of a fairly high caliber, you are sort of forced to choose projects that really challenge you. And this is in addition to all the homeworks, all the assignments. So I don't feel like I've ever learned as much as I have in my life in that 1.5 year span in CMU. I've also probably haven't slept as little as I have in that 1.5 year span in CMU. I think it's a college that's known for, at least the School of Computer Science is known for its students reporting the least amount of sleep. So yeah, definitely placed me or positioned me really well. I feel like the brand of the college helped me get a lot of referrals, and I was able to utilize that. The only struggle I faced was, this was in 2020. So because of COVID, a few companies started retracting their offers, the internship offers, and the initial company that I had gotten in retracted their offer. So for me, the struggle was pretty much the hiring wave had ended. This was like in March, when I needed to go back into the hiring pool again. And during that time, it was a little bit hard getting callbacks. So again, for me, the key thing, because I had gotten into CMU, I had gotten a lot of questions about, hey, how do I get into CMU? So that was when I had kind of started a little bit of writing on LinkedIn that, hey, this is what I did, this is how I wrote my CV, how I wrote my SOP, and talked about it a little bit on LinkedIn, because of which I had like somewhat a fairly small presence. And I was able to leverage a lot of my seniors network and my network on LinkedIn to again get callbacks, even though it was sort of dried up. um, Amazon, the interviews were a little bit rigorous, but again, the seniors at CMU, they'd gone through these rounds of interviews, so the resources that they provide were fairly precise. Like they said, for the ML round, just prepare on 10601 course. And my interviewer was somebody who had attended the course at CMU, and the questions he asked were the questions in our course. So we had like an ML theory round. So 40 minutes of ML theory questions and 20 minutes behavioral. almost every question he asked was from this 10601 course at CMU. And I was like, okay, he's just asking me questions from the book. So yeah, so the preparation was fairly easy, again, just because of the network of seniors that I had and the courses that I took. So my, again, a recommendation always is to make sure that you leverage your network. Um, the seniors at your college have gone through this process a lot more. The professors at your college have really good contacts. Reach out to them, and yeah, leverage your network on LinkedIn. Even if you're not posting, if you're not somebody who's very comfortable posting on LinkedIn, at least post maybe once a week, just so that you can set yourself up as an SME. And when you send out those connection requests, people will be more likely to respond because you have a little bit of social proof. So these are things that worked for me, and these are sort of the things that I always advise people do. Reach out to your seniors, your professors, and your LinkedIn network. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree too. Like today, building became so easier. Making projects and all these things are the easiest thing you can do. Building a resume is the easiest thing you can do. The difficult thing is the distribution and the people that you're gonna have, because that is something AI still can't automate, right? So which means that is little difficult. So you have to start doing that from day one. So again, now I think it's safe to close the past section. Now we go to chapter two, present. Again, living in the moment, to understand a few questions that I personally have. I'm sure like people who are watching this have these too. Uh, so the question number one is, the title says life of a data scientist in big tech. So before going into the life, I want to understand what, take your time to answer this because it's like a difficult question to answer. So
Mhm.
what makes you the engineer working in big tech? I mean, you worked in pretty big companies, Dell, Amazon, and Walmart, working in Walmart.
Mhm.
So what makes an engineer here? Because you are your like an engineer yourself, and like you have seen the peers around you. So what makes this engineer different from any other engineer from any other company?
I think the key thing in big tech is that um, to really have impact, you need to work with others, as opposed to like when I maybe initially started out working in like smaller companies, interning in like smaller companies. It was sort of easy to get a project from point A to point B and have impact just by yourself and maybe your manager, just the two of you building, developing, bouncing ideas against one another, and you would be able to build something out. But within larger companies, just because they have been around for so long, a lot of the common problems, or the problems that strike your mind, would have been solved in one way, shape, or form. So now, whenever you're solving problems that cut across domains. So you might understand this small specific segment of your business, but most of the problems there have been solved. Now the only problems remaining are problems where you are connecting, let's say, the e-com experience to logistics. Like, if an item is running low, should we take it out of our recommendation system? Like, recommendation systems are usually just built on customer interactions. It has nothing to do with supply chain. But now, let's say if I can provide supply chain signals into our access model, why should I be recommending an item that I can no longer fulfill, like during Valentine's, if the box of chocolates have run out? So it's more about working across systems or across domains, because again, because they are big companies, a lot of these orgs sit in silos and they don't really talk to one another. So most of the problems, most of the impact that you can create in big tech is when you start cutting across systems. To do that, the key thing, like within Amazon, that really worked well is coffee chats. If you send out a coffee chat request like, hey, 15 minutes coffee chat just to understand your domain, and I'd be happy to walk through my domain, people are always willing to accept. That was really helpful, just to understand different people's domain and ideate on, hey, maybe is there like some space where you and I can work together on a problem that we haven't worked on thus far? Maybe build out a POC and figure it out. And especially within Amazon, like, I know a lot of people shit about Amazon. My experience was like really good. I always feel like, hey, it really depends upon your manager and your team. So for me, sort of like Amazon had this stretch culture where you could spend 80% of your time on your projects, but 20% of your time you can dedicate to like projects that you want to sort of pursue. I think it started in Google and it sort of spread into a lot of the other fan companies. So at Amazon, you could like try out these stretch projects and see what worked. So we like I built out a lot of like interesting things within NLP, within connecting across a few domains. So I feel like as a big tech engineer, yes, if you want to be like a meets expectations engineer, you can definitely do the tasks that are assigned to you and do them well, do them ahead of time, do them in a way that there is very little rework and you can get that meets expectation. But to get to that exceeds expectation, it's always been like, what can I? You need to create impact outside of what you have been assigned, and that's usually by having these coffee chats, connecting across domains. And I feel like the really great big tech engineers who I hope also to aspire to be one day, they're really good at understanding different parts of the domain, and they can really uh, cross connect problems, bring in different data sources from different places, and connect everything together in a way that I'm still figuring out how to do. Yeah.
Okay, that's like really interesting to see that these companies support you to do some personal stuff, the 20%. Maybe that itself is a differentiator because I have never experienced that.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
like the reason I asked you this question for the audience, if you want to interpret the answer, I would interpret it as just do whatever Karun said already and put it on your resume. That's a way to convince these folks that, hey, I'm already a part of you so that you can hire me, right? That's the reason, intention for me to ask the question. Now, if when talking about the present, we can't skip this. The reality has AI in it, right? And that's the question now. Data science is very different today compared to what it used to be. And after AI, can you tell right now, the past 2 years or the past 1 year, what changed? What kind of workflow difference that you are seeing every day?
For sure, yeah. I think um, it depends a little bit on what stage of the project that I'm in. So maybe let's take it from the initial stage where you
Sure.
have a problem that business sort of is posing in front of you, and you need to figure out how exactly to tackle this problem. So we call that like the lit review phase, where we sort of read about how other people have solved this problem. What are the different like a specific business problem can be converted into a lot of different ML formulations. Like it could be a regression problem, it could be a ranking problem, it could be a classification problem. There could be a multitude of ways to sort of solve that problem. So you typically do what we say is like a lit review, where we figure out like how people have solved this problem before. So that becomes a lot more faster and cleaner just with like deep research tools on Perplexity or ChatGPT or Claude, whatever your favorite tool is. Just figuring out how other people have solved this problem, asking questions, and having a conversation with this kind of oracle-ish agent that tends to be drunk slash hallucinate once in a while. It sort of gives you really good summarized feedback of research that otherwise would have taken you maybe 2 or 3 days. You can finish in maybe under a day. So that part is really good because now that you know how other people have solved this problem, you can take that, you can put suggestions in front of business, you can have a conversation about, hey, for us, what would be the best way to approach it, and then figure out a particular way to a particular formulation for solving the problem, and then decide on what we call the metric design, like what are going to be our north star metric, what are going to be our guardrail metrics. And once you have those metrics, then we can figure out that, okay, we decided to solve this problem this way. Now, what are the typical models that I can use to solve this problem? What are the typical features that I can use to solve this problem? We can always think of like a gajillion features based on the data that we have. But sort of like just having ChatGPT, having Claude provide suggestions on features like, hey, yeah, I see like you're taking this average order value over 7 days. How about this feature called average order value acceleration, which is like the 7 day average divided by the 90-day average to see if there is like an increase in the last 7 days. So it gives you like suggestions on features like that, which will be really helpful for your applied ML models. So within feature engineering, just being able to brainstorm other patterns in your data that you can capture is really helpful. And then choosing what models to experiment with, like, hey, if I do this model, what are the pros and cons in terms of like latency, explainability, and the infra cost that would be connected. Like a lot of people I know rush to deep learning models, but they have like a lot of like explainability issues. It's hard to debug if in case like you have if in case you are faced with problems. And obviously the infra cost is also higher, like you need at least a few, I mean like a GPU to run it. So you're able to make a lot of these decisions not just based on your gut feel. Your gut feel is important and your experience is important, but you can add a lot of data points that these agents are able to provide on top of it. So again, all of your decisions become a lot more faster in the sense that earlier, when I would try to choose between a deep learning model and maybe and a gradient boosted model, I would experiment with each, and I would base my choice on just the experimentation alone. But here I can brainstorm that, hey, okay, explainability, how difficult would it be with this kind of deep learning architecture that I'm trying out, and what would the infra cost look like, this is like the amount of time it's taking for training, sort of tell me on GCP based on like how much a Dataproc instance costs for this many hours, what the compute cost would look like if I'm planning on retraining it weekly for the next 52 weeks. So stuff like that, it can help me do a lot of those calculations. So yeah, you will be able to make a lot better decisions because you have more data points to make those decisions. um, so it'll, like I said, first lit review, figuring out how best to solve the problem. Then it'll help you in feature engineering, it'll help you in choosing your models. All these loops become a lot simpler, and then definitely when you start coding, it'll help you tremendous amount in getting that starter code out. I've worked mostly with like Cloud Code because I feel like that's the most effective one, or the one that works the best. Like the code just runs, you don't have to spend a lot of time tweaking and fixing it. It's really good at building out that starter code, and then later on when you want to make small tweaks onto your feature engineering, onto your hyperparameter tuning, onto logging, stuff like that, you can make those. So yeah, the initial starter code that might have taken you maybe copy pasting from here and there your previous projects and everything, that might have taken you like maybe 2 or 3 days to a week to set up. You can set it up like you can set it running and go, and it'll be done in like an hour's time, which is always nice. So yeah, those are, I think, the loops that makes a lot faster. And a lot of the engineering stuff, the MLOps stuff, that you always miss something on in MLOps, like, hey, I didn't think about this kind of failure. Like feature drift and output drift are common things that you think about, but maybe in terms of like, hey, the upstream data is delayed by 1 hour, how do I set alerts on that? Like a lot of like these systematic alerts that you might want to set up that you might miss, it'll make sure that you cover all of it. So it gives you a good checklist to work through as well. I know it was a long answer, but yeah, let me know if you want
No, no.
to. Yeah,
That's a clearer answer. So thank you for that.
for
So
sure.
a quick rapid question on that. Suggest us two AI tools that you want everyone watching this to try,
uh, I
excluding Claude Code, because you already mentioned Claude Code.
So yeah, I use Claude Code for most of my coding needs, just because it's integrated really well into my current system, and like I said, it just works. Apart from that, for me, I use a lot of Perplexity because of that model Opus feature, where you can ask the question, ask the question to all the agents possible, and it gives you a summarized version of the answer. So that for deep research especially, I find it like really helpful and really good to know that, hey, it's asked all the models and it's giving me a summarized version of the answer. So now I don't have to check separately in ChatGPT, Opus, or Gemini separately. I don't have to do that. And yeah, in terms of like just helping to explain stuff, I feel like Gemini is really good at creating these sort of mermaid diagrams or flow diagrams.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been like really good at creating those diagrams. So Gemini and Perplexity would be like my favorite choices, I guess.
Nice, nice. I know I'm kind of running out of time. So people, there are a lot of questions. I'm not gonna ignore that. Let's get those questions in the Q&A section. Now, I think it's time to move on to the future, the chapter 3 of this, which is the future of data science. Um, I want to ask a question, a similar question what I have already asked. A guy starting now, uh, who's trying to get into data science, and he also sees AI engineering as a new career path today. Uh, what do you think? Which one should he choose? Obviously, the diplomatic answer is you should choose whatever you like. But you want to add one pro and one con with each title. What would you tell?
Got it. So it depends a little, like you mentioned, if you have something you like, go after it. If it's that, hey, I want to land a job and I like this field, I guess you can split into product data science, applied data science, and applied data science and AI engineering sort of is, I guess, a little bit of overlap. But let's take applied data science and AI engineering together. So product data science, I would say, by and large, has remained a little bit unaffected. It's still dominated by knowing a lot of statistics, A/B testing, and causal inference. So how you built out your tests and how comprehensive they are. Like I mentioned, you can use Perplexity or ChatGPT, whatever tool you want, to help make the test design or the experiment design a lot more better. Um, but I would say in that field, knowing a lot of AI tools won't really help you land a job. It's more about knowing, having experience with A/B testing, having experience with causal inference. There's a good Python book which covers like a very the most common package called DoWhy. So if you're interested in product data science, make sure you check out build SQL skills, metric design skills, product sense skills, A/B testing, and causal inference skills. These are the five, and know like some dashboarding platform. So those six skills, I think, if you build it out, you would be able to get a role in product data science. If in case you need any resources, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Um, Applied data science, coming into applied data science, there is definitely a lot of hype around LLMs and agents in particular. So people who have experience building agents and getting them to work in a reliable manner are definitely look very attractive in the job market. So that could be one route you can definitely go in terms of like getting good at that. Agentic system design, AI evaluations, context engineering, and just being very good at not just the vanilla RAG, but implementing a retrieval layer on top of it so that you can fetch really good context. So those are some things that you might want to invest in. Maybe working through resources for each RAG and building out retrieval layers. Check out Krishnayak's YouTube. Context engineering, just Google Anthropic context engineering. They have a really good blog. AI evals, Aishwarya Naresh has a good free course on AI evals. That could be something you check out. Agentic system design, Daily Dose of Data Science has a paid course on agentic system design. But their free content is also really good, and it helps you walk through some of the patterns like React and stuff, which help a little bit in like making your agent design a bit more systematic and I guess reliable. So that could be one way in terms of like applied data science, making yourself marketable in the job. Obviously, even though these skills will maybe get you a call back, I still feel your foundations in machine learning is what's going to help you clear interviews. So do make sure that you prep for like the ML foundations. Again, Build ML has like resources on all of the ML foundations, ML system design questions. So make sure you study those. It's just that the LLM agent might improve your chance of getting a call back. Like typically, when we are approaching projects, I ask candidates to have like projects that demonstrate like four skill sets. One is your ability to fit and fine tune models, productionize models, do data analysis and feature engineering, and lastly, error analysis and improve models. So in terms of these four things, the projects that I always advise is like one forecasting project, because you can really bring external data sets to improve your forecasting results, and you can do really clean error analysis because mostly forecasting models are statistical models which you can really understand and improve. So you can do a lot of error analysis to improve these models. The second project is like any kind of large scale PySpark based modeling, typically XGBoost, because companies really like gradient boosted models. Really good for explainability, really good for rolling out, really inexpensive to maintain in prod. So PySpark and XGBoost pull out like some kind of 100 gig data set. If you have a student account, AWS provides you like a free tier for a few months, so you can use that to build out this project. And the last one is some kind of a RAG eval project, just so that you can keep up with the LLM hype. So these are three projects that I typically suggest for anybody in applied data science. Product data science, I may not be the best person, but typically some kind of causal inference project, projects where you're doing product sense and metric design, and projects where you're doing dashboarding. These kind of projects work really well. There are a few other content creators you can follow, one being Don Chu and the other is Sai. Sai, everybody knows. So yeah, those two are like two good content creators to check out in that space.
Cool. Thank you. This is like a resources checklist the past 2 minutes. If you didn't take notes, it's fine. Come back and watch this video and just take notes, or
Yep,
ask AI
definitely.
to give you the transcription of this video and just take notes out of that. So I'm gonna skip few questions because I'm running out of time here. So
Mhm.
let's do something. Let's go to the final section, the Q&A, whatever people have asked till now. I respect every question what came here. So let's do this to make it easier. I'll just ask the question. Let's do our rapid fire answers. Like you can answer it in 1 or 2 words,
Mhm.
maximum one line, and we'll just go through everything. If we have more time, we can ask more questions. So
Sure.
if you are still live watching this, make sure you put all your questions. We're gonna do a very rapid fire of everything.
Mhm.
So the first question: how much statistics, calculus are required to land in FANG? That's super specific.
Yep. There's a link on BuildML, how much stats is required. Just go through that playlist. That'll cover everything it's required. It's just hypothesis testing, A/B testing, and sampling. Once you go through those three, you should be good.
Perfect. What project skill set or experience should we have in our resume in today's industry so that we could get our resume through ATS?
So it depends a little bit on the role: data analyst, product data scientist, applied data scientist. For applied data scientist, again, there is a link on BuildML. Just check that out. The three projects that I just covered before: forecasting, large scale prediction, and a RAG eval project. Those three are really good for making yourself very marketable. Yeah.
Okay. So this is specific to Amazon. Amazon case studies on stats, calculus helps our community. Please make a video on it. We are waiting for it.
Yep. There's
Karun,
all. Yep. There's
yep,
already an ML case study on BuildML, and the link that I mentioned for probability stats. It's an MRDing playlist. Just go through that, and you'll be up to date on your stats. Yeah.
perfect, perfect. And if you want to do one more, let's do one more soon together,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And what platform is best for hosting my portfolio?
Just if you have all your code on GitHub, GitHub pages will suffice. If you need to get a little more bit more fancy, you can try out Wix.
Yep. Question on recommendation system. I think Pawan Reddy is your big fan. The questions from Pawan Reddy are like super specific to your content. Uh, so, question on recommendation system: do you mean fine tune RS based on SKU's availability? Is it a problem in Amazon? Would like to make this as thesis topic.
I think that might be a little bit confidential, but yeah, you can use your item availability to decide if something should be recommended or not. If it's not an available item, then yeah, it may not make sense in recommending that item. Yeah.
How long does it take to learn and apply NLP and recommendation system to be able to apply for these jobs?
It depends upon how fast you can pick up the concepts and how much time you have to invest in like learning and building projects. But typically, NLP, there is an Android NG course which walks through machine learning, deep learning, and NLP specialization. So take the NLP specialization. You might have to do, if you're just focusing on NLP, you have to do maybe 2 to 3 projects. So how much of time it takes to finish you that NLP specialization by Android NG. And the projects, I would say 3 weeks per project. If again you're really quick at learning things and have a lot of time to invest, maybe 3 weeks per project. So you're looking at 9 weeks after you learn everything from Ant to Ng's course. So 9 weeks plus whatever time it takes to learn that course.
Great. Question from Sayali. Any books you would recommend to study product data science and also apply data science?
Uh, Product data science, online trustworthy experiments is good for A/B testing, but more than books, I guess I typically prefer courses. Udacity has a really good free course on A/B testing, And again, for developing product sense metric design, there are a few links on BuildML that will help you. Mrding has a good playlist on product sense, and interview query and exponent, they have good playlists on case study interviews. So just go through that, find an interview partner. To find an interview partner, you can use the BuildML Substack chat. Just say that, hey, I want somebody to practice product data science questions with. Somebody will respond, and you two can like pair up and interview one another to build that skill out. Yeah.
Great. And are there any certifications that you would recommend to study advanced topics in NLPs and LLMs?
So I guess by advanced topics in NLP and LLMs, uh, I don't think there are any certifications. There might be a few courses here and there that can help. In terms of LLMs, go through Krishnayak's YouTube. Pretty much everything that you need, like everything I know, I learned from him and a few other channels. So go through that. If in case you still feel like there's something lacking, maybe a paid course from Daily Dose of Data Science. They have like a really good, I mean, they generally produce like really good content. I haven't gone through any of their paid courses. I'm not like a affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. But I really like their content, so I'm guessing like their courses might also be good. So Daily Dose of Data Science and Krishnaik, check those out. Probably you can learn everything you need for free. May not require a certification. Only point I think you may require a certification is if you're becoming like a cloud engineer or solutions architect. At that point, maybe like AWS, GCP, those kind of certifications might help.
Yep. And I don't believe in certifications at all. And the reason I'm saying this is I collected everything like Pokemon cards. I never used it. People did care how many certifications I had. So I don't think you have to look behind certification for sure. Next question. What about job market in Salesforce? I don't understand this question properly. If you can uh reword it, it'll be great. But Karun, if you can understand, let me know. Agentic Salesforce agentic AI, will that knowledge fit in general AI jobs?
I'm guessing it's a tool within Salesforce. Like Salesforce has a lot
Maybe.
of the agentic AI tools. I'm assuming like if you have knowledge in that tool, will it fit in with general AI jobs? Not necessarily. Like some of the concepts may be transferable in terms of like, hey, training, retraining, monitoring, eval. But typically for general AI jobs, you build stuff on Python, PySpark, stuff like that. So you might have to learn a little bit more coding. Salesforce agentic AI might not really translate. But again, haven't worked with Salesforce agentic AI. I don't know if they have like a coding interface. I'm assuming it's a little bit more drag and drop kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say a product data science has lower entry barrier compared to applied data science in terms of academic qualification? So this person is a data science undergrad who don't have financial resources doing a master's at the moment.
I wouldn't say it has a lower grade. It's just a very different way of assessing a candidate. Like, let's take Facebook's interview loop, for example. They have um, a round around SQL and metric design. I think two rounds around SQL and metric design. One round where it's like pen and paper, where they ask you like statistics questions, and then like case study round. So it's a very different approach for preparing for those interviews as opposed to like applied ML, where you need to do DSA and system design interview questions. So I don't think the barrier is lower. If in case you're a DS undergrad and if you need to land a job in a short span of time, then I would say data analyst might have like a lower barrier. So target a data analyst, earn a year or two of experience as a data analyst, and then try and switch into product data science or applied data science. Depending upon within those 2 years, if you worked a lot more on A/B testing and causal inference, then maybe product data science. If you worked on predictive modeling, then you can think about applied data science. So data analyst might be a better bet.
Yep. And being like attending these interviews before personally, I think it's the other way around. Like product data science requires a lot of experience for you to get in. At least like the interviews that I've given, they always ask for, hey, tell me a time where you did A/B testing. But when I was doing the applied, at least I can prove all those things with the projects that I had.
Yep.
So I think it is the other way. It's not about the masters or bachelors, but if you have bachelors plus experience, maybe you can get into a product data science role easier,
Yep,
I guess.
yep, yeah, because there's no way to do an A/B testing project. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Okay. So I have worked on data cleaning, feature engineering, predictive modeling, metrics evaluation. Can I apply for an AI engineer role that need RAG, agentic AI, pipelines, cloud, or is that a different path? I think you have an answer already in the question. So
Yeah, exactly. You need to know a little bit of RAG, how to build agents, and you might need to know how to deploy those things on cloud. So that would be a little bit more easier for you to make that transition. Then, yeah.
yep. And feel free to text me. Unfortunately, I'm one of the people who have done both. So like I'm happy to dive deeper on that.
Hey,
And
fortunately, makes you more resilient. Yeah,
so Pawan Reddy is, see, he proved it. He's your fan. Can I get one-on-one session with Karun?
for sure.
$2,000,
Just check
Pawan.
out the top mate on BuildML, and you'll be able to grab one-on-one session. Yeah.
Yep. Great. So we have 5 more minutes. Karun said he has a hard stop, so I'll stop getting questions. But I want to use this 5 minutes to say what's going to happen next. So to dos or like next steps for people who are watching. Number one, you might know, you might already be following Karun. If not, you're already doing step one to get into data science is go and follow Karun. Do that already. And the resources that he mentioned, go back to the video and watch everything and take a note of the resources and start learning stuff. Follow BuildML, the community, and I think Karun can speak about BuildML.
Oh yeah, we are essentially a community built by data scientists for data scientists to not just land a job, but to stay relevant in your career because data science is sort of ever evolving. So yeah, just check out BuildML. We have like a quick link section which will help you answer most of the questions that you have, like DSA, stats, product sense, machine learning foundations, case study rounds. But yeah, we also do like weekly deep dives. We just started like our project series, so we're developing a recommendation systems project from scratch to hopefully get like a project in that will be like top 100 in Kaggle scoreboard. So yeah, let's see how far we can get in, and yeah, we'll be doing like a weekly update on that project.
Yep. Thank you, Karun. And like if you are already a data analyst or a data scientist, and if you're looking to get into AI, you know the path already. Go and check out myrealproduct.com. This podcast series is a part of my real product cohort, and it's like a action based learning. So if you already, even if you know the theory or if you don't know the theory, doesn't matter. It's an action based. You learn and you build, and you do this parallelly together. It's just in 4 weeks you will become an AI engineer. And someone asks how to become an AI engineer, it will be the path for you to become an AI engineer. And that's how I did it. I'm just transformed that into a workshop. And finally, the to do for you guys who are watching this, um, the goal of this entire series is to bring out the real conversations that might just happen behind the scenes. I know Karun personally. We met once, I guess. I feel unlucky that I just met him once, but we did 3 lives together, and I just want to bring all these insights out of Karun. Hope you enjoyed this. So if you enjoyed this, uh, do us a favor, and also this could be your first step. Take a screenshot of this entire thing, go and post on LinkedIn and say the takeaways from this workshop and help your community what you learned from this. It could be anything or your opinion, your takeaway. Just post on your LinkedIn so your community can learn from you what you learned from Karun over here. And thank you everyone for being here. To follow up on this, there is going to be another session with Varun uh, day after tomorrow. That's like he's gonna dive deeper into how to get interviews or crack interviews from big tech, basically like Google, Meta, etc. So if you are looking to understand or dive deeper into the interview aspect of this, go to myrealproduct.com, and you'll find the podcast link, and you can register for all the upcoming podcasts that we're gonna bring in. uh, but yeah, it's like I feel lucky to have Karun as our first guest, so that you basically started, you just did some puja and started our session. So thank you for this, Karun.
For
And you
sure, man.
said you
Honor to
have
be on. Yeah.
hard stop at 7. This is the hard stop. It's like, sorry, 7 in UK time, whatever the time over there. Thank you for being here, Karun. Any
For
last
sure.
words?
Yeah, honor to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you, Karun, and thank you everyone for being here. And even if you're watching the recording, thank you for spending your time watching this. Hope you had gotten the insights that you expected before joining. And thank you everyone for your time. And See you again in another podcast with another great guest. And thank you so much for your time, Karun. Again,
Yeah.
see you.
Thanks a lot.